Is it wrong of me to say that some of the words this antagonist said to Patri were actually words I wanted to say to him myself? Yes, I know that it's pretty cruel and not to mention a little bit inappropriate of me to say, because in the end, Patri wasn't really the antagonist, he was a tragic villain. This devil, on the other hand, seems to be neither, at least what we know so far. So the Angry Anime Fan, the Despair Reviewer. Yes, this is Black Clover 1, chapter 197. Just 3 more to 2000, and it's very, very good. It's not slowing down in the hype at all. Although I did read a reviewer on a popular spoiler site. He actually didn't like last week's chapter. What was so wrong about last week? He probably won't like this one. First off, a color page of the Black Clover one in doing high school. Also something about the third character popularity. I wonder. I hope Noelle will go up a little bit in liking, but I have a feeling Juno will go up more in liking now. And who else will probably? Maybe Fueglion. Either way, now to the chapter. As Mimosa and Asta sees the devil or demon, whatever, Asta of course asks what it is, but even though he asked, he already knew. Well, no duh, he has a demon inside of him, or at least some seemingly inside of him. We don't really know. But the demon pays them no mind, although he does says that they are uninvited guests. So he uses his magic to immediately teleport Patri, who indeed was close in healing Raya. I suspected he would try to heal Raya, but as the devil said, everything he says is useless before him. That's actually how he managed to recreate Rani's swapping magic. Of course, Patri tries to attack with the light whip, but the demon just says disappear, and the wisp disappear, then skewers him, well, not completely for the most fatal wounds, but with skewers him with iron spears. As Juno tells Asta who this guy is, Asta and Juno go there Super Saiyan and tries to attack the devil, who summons storms of blades that Asta cannot completely block, seeing that they're not completely made out of magic. Nor can Juno completely dodge it because, well, it is well, taxing on him. Then a vacuum wall to push him down, and then finally falling rocks with be crushed, be squashed, be broken, be run through. Huh. I mean, that is a bit of an overkill, but they are the main characters, so probably nothing will happen. Either way, the demon says that they won't allow anyone to get in his way. Actually, it's not yet answered, mind you. What exactly is this demon after? I mean, he seems to imply he wanted a new host body, and he wanted also some kind of revenge on the elves, although he does mock the elf and the human revenges. So maybe in the end he was just chaotic and don't have a reason. But he does mention that 500 years ago, which is actually confirmed now, well, maybe actually it was confirmed 500 years. Sorry, it was confirmed in a previous one that it really was 500 years ago. But it was 500 years ago that Lich and the first Sorcerer's Emperor became friends. And according to the devil, or demon, that was the reason why his incarnation failed at the last moment. So, I mean, I'm not really sure what that meant, but probably the first Sorcerer Emperor entering the picture was not part of the devil's plan. I mean, he did say he manipulated royals, but we all know that the first Sorcerer's Emperor was innocent. So maybe the appearance of the first Sorcerer Emperor was not in the devil's plan, whatever plan he did. So instead he set his sights on Patri, who was a young vessel, was very loved by Mana, and not to mention as his biggest flaw of all, easily shaken and completely easy to manipulate, something that and also a strong sense of duty. After all, a guy like that would worship anyone, can easily be manipulated. As of course Patri declares that he was not manipulated by him, and even though the fact, nor the fact that the devil was the reason. No, sorry, I'm having a little trouble concentrating. Long day. The devil says something by applying tragedy to your sense of duty was simple to bring you forth with the reincarnation ritual. But that is what Patri denies. He says that it was Lich who cast the reincarnation, even if it meant dirty him. But the devil confirms that it wasn't Lich who cast the reincarnation, it was him. And here is a slight plot hole, although technically it's not exactly a plot hole because we still haven't gotten the full reveal yet. Last time we saw Lich, it actually did look like he did cast a forbidden magic. However, as I said before, we only saw what we wanted to see, or maybe more likely, we only saw what we believed we saw. And the devil talked about the fact that he brought forth despair to Lich in a screaming scene, almost the same screaming scene as when he held Teta in his hands. Maybe that was the scene when the devil casted the reincarnation magic, and Lich screamed not only out of anguish for the murder of his kin, but also at the devil who at that moment casted it. The devil used Patrice's uh, enormous amount of hate at him, and that's why he reincarnated him. It wasn't Lich, and as I said in the beginning, I I said somewhat before that I agree somewhat with the devil's words here, and I know it's cruel to say that, but it's these words that I actually find to be true, and that is the leader of the elves would have never wanted the eradication of humans. Both the revival of the elves and the vengeance for the tragedy inflicted, they were all lies. So I mean, it's confirmed they were lies, and we ourselves didn't believe they were lies. But as the verse says, that the leader of the elves would not have wanted eradication of humans. He is completely right. I sincerely also believe that, although I don't really know how Lich is now reincarnated, maybe he isn't. Maybe he really is reincarnated, and not just doing anything. Not only because he's waiting for the devil to appear himself, but also because he is ashamed. He is ashamed of all what Patri has done. He is not happy that the elves were brought forward like this. The devil is completely right. Lich would not have wanted eradication of humans, even if it were royals. As he then taunts him by saying that every single path Patri has walked up until now, including killing Julius and many things more, uh, have been what the devil played in him. Um, and the final words he says is that you arrived in a future where Lich would never have wanted, and that is into my reincarnation into my reincarnation into flesh. And then, as Patri just says more that he was chosen by the Clover, just like Rich, the devil just says that you were so chosen as my perfect ignorant little pawn. A job well done. It's the fact that the devil says that Lich would not have wanted this, and this is a future Lich did not want, is completely true. That is why I agree with him. And all of those taunting words sends Patri into a despairing, actually confirming one thing. As he screams in despair, the clover on his grimoire slowly turns black. As the devil said last chapter, the clovers of despair are in Lich's grimoire. Maybe another reason why Lich refused to wield the grimoire back then, because it's no longer his, because it's tainted with despair. But this seems to confirm also something what the devil talked about last time. Said something about gathering five clovers of grimoires and all send them into despair, or fourth clover or whatever. Either way, it seems that it's not exactly confirmed yet if this is exclusive to only those that have been getting a four-leaf clover grimoire, or if this is to everyone. But as I said before, the elves seems to become more darker when they fall into despair. But given to the fact that the devil used the reincarnation magic all this time ago, That may actually be because of his influence, not only because the elves, can fall into despair, but it seems that those that have the fourth clover, if they fall into despair, their grimoire become corrupted, and it seems that is one of the goals of the devil, as he just laughs at the thing. Yes, this thing is completely evil, no doubt about it. But he's still saying the things that Patre needed to hear. Everything he was a lie. But it's then the heroes rise from the rubble. Although beaten up the blush, they say the same lines a little bit differently, and proclaims that as long as their rival are beside them, they will never lose. I mean, I have to say that is what I've always liked about Juno and Aster. No matter what, it doesn't really seem like there's any animosity between them ever. And although they mock each other sometimes, they are truly more like best friend rivals. Not like arch enemy rivals like Naruto and Sasuke and Deku and Bakugo. So, and this time though, it seems they have gotten a huge power up as part of Juno seems to have become a little bit more mutated. And it's what Raya says something that is very strange. Something like the lich that inside of him has finally awakened. Is that meant to confirm that Juno really does have the reincarnation of Lich's baby inside of him? I mean, that would explain why Juno has his reason, because technically that baby wasn't even born yet. He wouldn't have any reason. But even Asta seems to have gotten more density as his demon form now covers even more darkness in his body. And it's something like the anti-magic emanating from him is disintegrating the magic in his vicinity. They then proceed to team up and attack the devil, even managing to give it a powerful jack in its arm. The counterattack begins now. Of course, one can complain is the fact that is the devil gonna lose this quickly? Just introduced like that, and everything is gonna go poof. Even I have to admit, yes, that would be a little anticlimactic, especially now with the devil incarnation, and I want this to be pushed forward a little more because there are some things that are not resolved yet. And this back to the plot hole of the fact that the despair. This still doesn't answer where that demon came from. But now it seems to imply that this devil is the real reason why the demon was summoned also. Hmm. And he mentions 500 years ago, the first Muslim emperor and Lich got in his way. Is that meant to imply that they got in the way when they befriended each other, or is he saying that because the devil summoned that demon or whatever? Hmm. I'm not sure. It's just some part of the puzzles that are still missing. But yeah, I have no love for the devil, but the words he says are completely true to Patri. In the end, Patri was just consumed with revenge, and he didn't even pay any attention to. I mean, granted, it was the humans that killed him, so of course he wouldn't have been more the wiser. Even we thought the humans have killed the elves. What I'm trying to say is that he didn't think if this was what Lich would have wanted, because he thought this was what everyone wanted. And every elf seems to want this except Lich, but it still doesn't answer though. Is his reincarnation broken? Or is he just being silent because he is just that disappointed in what the elves have been doing? It may explain why he attacked Asta and Juno though. He remembers that disaster and wanted to test them to see if they could fight back. I don't know, but action packed is not even the second word of it all. But Mimosa is also in this. I have a feeling that must be plot relevant. After all, Mimosa does look like Tata. But you give me your thoughts if you have any.